Let's face it, some allies are just more attractive than others, and I'm going to tell you the 10 things that you can do to become the most attractive ally possible inside Pokemon Unite. Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Let's do this. The first thing you could do to be an attractive ally is to help your allies with scoring. When you stand on a goal zone while an ally is trying to score, you are scoring faster. Multiple allies means you are scoring even quicker. Helping your allies score is massive, whether that be assisting them in getting stacks by making sure that you're blocking your opponents, or even just standing with them during those moments, and of course leaving Eos energy behind so that a stacking Pokemon like the Lucario in your lane can pick it up and get more stacks. Scoring effectively is also extremely important. If you have 6 and this goal zone has 3 left and you see an ally walking towards you with 20 or 30 or something like that, if you can block the opponent's position for them, stand on the goal with them, and make sure they score, that is huge. Scoring effectively is one of the best things you can do to be a helpful ally. Before we continue to our next number, this video is brought to you by me. That's right, Road to Masters is coming, and here's a quick preview. This season on my Road to Master Rank, I am going to be the best ally of all time. So what does that mean? That means I'm going to be doing everything I talk about in this video and more. I'm going to be communicating with my team. I'm going to be running things like Resonant Guard, EXP Share, Buddy Barrier, and I'm going to be making sure that my allies feel like rock stars and they are the reason that we won the match. And if I do it right, they will be the reason we won the match, because I am going to support them better than any ally has ever done it. Whoa, look how cool my allies will be! And of course, when I say communicating with my team, that means I'm putting the headset on and I'm letting them know they're doing a great job. Tyranitar, you're a legend, dude! Hey, I just want to let you know I believe in you. You're fantastic. Don't ever change. And since we're focused on supporting our allies, we've got to change our name. We are no longer Cowboy Nuzzy. We are now I've Got Your Back. And yeah, we'll also spin a wheel at some point. Maybe a bunch of wheels. Whoa, check out all these wheels, holy! Road to Master Rank, best ally ever. Coming very, very soon. The best ever. Wow. Important work. Number 2 is your mini-map. Understanding your mini-map and using it effectively. You've got this little map at the top of your screen up there, and it's very, very important that you understand what's going on in it. You will see the position of all of your allies on this map, as well as any enemies you are aware of. This gives you an idea of where a fight is going to break out or where your allies are going to be moving to take an objective. It's ideal, especially if you're a support or defender, and I see this far too often, where you are a support like a Clefable or something like that, and you are all alone in the top path just hanging out there. Your job is mostly to unite with your team. If only they called the game Pokemon Unite so people understood this. Maybe next time. Grouped up top there with your mini-map, you'll also know what allies are up and whether or not they have Unite moves. This is extremely important. If an ally needs a Unite move before Rayquaza and you have yours, let them get the last hits on all of the farm around you. This is very, very important. It will help you win fights. Let your allies charge their Unite moves. This is kind of a 2-for-1, I guess. This is mini-maps. This is just like HUD awareness. It's HUD awareness. Number 3, complementary lane picks. I think this is extremely important. There are a lot of Pokemon that play well in lane and some that struggle or need a lot of help. If you're going into lane and your ally is, let's say, a Chandelure. Chandelure is a pretty good Pokemon. However, its level 1 through 4 is pretty dang tragic. It has pretty bad secure, it has okay rip, it stops enemies from stacking pretty well, but it needs to get its level 5. Pick something super complementary to your ally. Think of a Slowbro, right? Slowbro has an incredible secure tool in Water Gun. It also only needs level 4. It can easily run EXP Share to get your ally up to level 5. If you pick Pokemon that complement weak lane allies, this will help you immensely. Also, something to think about not only with complementing a weak lane ally, but let's say you're looking at your lane and your ally is a ranged Pokemon. Well, it might be very beneficial for you to be something bulky so that you can stand in front of of them? Or is your ally the kind of thing that's going to be moving around a lot, but you know it's going to be engaging? Well, a support could be a really good option. Something like an Eldegoss, where you're going to play at range and your Lucario ally is going to dive in. You'll be able to heal them. At the same time, you'll be able to A-press your enemies. This could be a very, very good lane. In general, finding a good Pokemon that works with your ally is extremely important. And a good rule of thumb is if they need to evolve at level 5, you should be evolving at level 4 and running EXP share. Number 4, and this is an easy one, but my God, for some reason it is not an easy one. Show up to Rayquaza with the Unite move. I probably have 50 videos where I say show up to Rayquaza with a Unite move, but it is, guys, I'm begging you, just show up and try to win the fight. Rayquaza is the determining factor for a majority of your games. At least 80% of your games, probably closer to 85, 90% of your games are decided by what happens at the Rayquaza fight. If you are there with a Unite move, ready to support your allies, you at least have a fighting shot to win the match. And not every match comes down to whether or not you take Rayquaza, but if you can stall the enemy out, if you already have a score lead, take them down, you know, knock out a few Pokemon, then someone maybe peels to score. All of that can win you the game. What almost never wins you the game is when you're already behind or it's a close game, someone runs off to score, your allies are kind of partially at Ray, not fully ready, they get jumped on by the enemy and it's over. It's just, it happens so often. Please show up to Ray, have a Unite move, which probably means don't use a Unite move under 2 minutes 30 seconds with almost any Pokemon in the game. Excuse me, 3 minutes 30 seconds with almost any Pokemon in the game. There are a few, like, you can get a Unite move back on, you know, Delphox if you use a Unite move at 3 minutes, but most things under 3:30, just save it for Ray. The 5th thing is understanding EXP share. EXP share. Literally the most broken item in the game, and unfortunately an item that allies often don't understand. I'll give you a quick rundown on EXP share right now. Let's say you are Eldegoss. You have EXP share on, which you should, by the way. As Eldegoss with EXP share, if you or your ally in lane KO a wild Pokemon and they're kind of in range, the range is basically the range of Eldegoss's basic attacks. If they're in range of that wild Pokemon, 100% of the experience goes to the Pokemon that is not holding EXP share, regardless of who gets the last hit, and 30% of the experience goes to the holder of EXP share. It essentially creates experience out of nowhere. It provides more experience than what is on the map currently. Also, as the lowest level Pokemon, you generate more EXP. That's just a nice little benefit, right? And because of this, you will often be able to get your ally to a level 5 before those birds spawn at 8 minutes 50 seconds, whereas without EXP share, this is very, very difficult to do. It is one of the best items. It doesn't matter which one you or an ally gets the last hit. As long as someone gets that last hit and you are both within range of that wild Pokemon, your ally will get all of the XP, and this is huge. And if you are not the one running EXP share, but your ally is, understand this so you can be around this farm, take it aggressively, take it quickly, get your levels, get that level advantage, and win your lane. Number 6 is understanding builds that work for your Pokemon. Now, I'm not going to say you can only play a few builds. There are some Pokemon that I think certain items are non-negotiable. For instance, if you're running Comfey without EXP share, you are actively trolling your team. But in general, if you are picking items that work for your Pokemon, I think you are in the best possible shape that you can be, especially in a lot of these solo queue games. Do you prefer Focus Band over Resident Guard? Okay, that's fine. You enjoy that. Are you the kind of player who likes to stack on their Metagross? Yeah, that makes total sense. The things you need to stay away from are cheesy items that never really work. Part of it is because on your loading screen, your allies get to see that Rocky Helmet or that Drain Crown, and they are already at a point of being tilted. For whatever reason, Pokemon Unite tilts people immediately, so run an item build that makes sense for your Pokemon. It's not too hard to figure out what that would be, and of course I have tons of videos on my channel showing just about every Pokemon in the game. In general, stay away from the troll items. Drain Crown, Rocky Helm, Leftovers, mostly Assault Vest. Things like that are not ideal in the game, and focus on things that help your team and of course would help you. Things like Muscle Band are great for ranged attackers. Things like EXP Share is an almost must on defenders and supporters. Pretty much all of them can run this item, even ones that can get away with running some other things that make them really powerful. In general, you want to pick an item set that works for your Pokemon and also supports your team in the best way possible. Your Cinderace is looking to do a lot of damage. Your Slowbro is looking to defend and support the team. Lean into that. Number 7, help your allies evolve. This is tough. Sometimes it's tricky. So when you're in a lane, there is some farm, wild Pokemon, often called farm in a MOBA. There's some farm that is going to be pretty safe. It's pretty easy for you to get. The enemies aren't pushing towards this far onto your side looking to get it. So these are the, two kind of bunnies that are close to you, close to your goal zone. Oftentimes these are safe unless your enemies are pretty aggressive. And then of course we have the one behind the goal zone that spawns at 9 minutes. That's very, very safe unless the enemies are crazy and they're already on your goal zone. The jungler's there like stomping on you. But in general, there's kind of the safe farm. Then there's the unsafe farm, really anything in the middle. The birds, that middle Audino, over to the other side, any of their farm. Anything that is safe, if you can allow an ally to get it, and that will give them that next breakpoint, right? The Umbreon will go from level 3 to 4, Sylveon, etc. That is ideal. Let them have it. And in fact, try to distance yourself from the farm so you don't split that amount of experience and unfortunately not give them their level. This is extremely important too. If they have an EXP share and they just need a little bit to get a level, sometimes that EXP share gives you way too much XP if you're a Pokemon standing near them, so you can peel away from that. Anything that is towards the enemy, that is contested farm and you're gonna have to fight over it. Unfortunately, you can't really dish that to your allies super easily. In general, it's better to secure that for your team. But if you can, and you see an ally is just a hair away from getting their evolution, allow them to have a piece of farm. There are a few exceptions to this, like if you're a jungler and they're trying to take your blue buff, it's probably honestly more ideal for you to have a blue buff early in the game especially, rather than they, get that last little chunk that gets them over the edge. But for the most part, if you can allow your ally to get a little bit of XP and get a big breakpoint evolving at level 5 for Buzzwole or something, do it. Number 8, these are going to be the team-wide helper items that you just don't get enough credit for. Resonant Guard, Curse items, EXP Share, and Buddy Barrier. These items are fantastic. However, they don't make you the lead singer of the band and get 5 KOs with Greninja, so I understand why some players don't always run these, but you should be running these items. One ally on your team for sure should have a curse item. It is massive. It changes games. I know we don't see it on the scoreboard, but it's really, really huge to take away healing from your enemies. At the same time, a lot of Pokemon can run Buddy Barrier, and if you have the option to run a Buddy Barrier, but instead you're running something like a Focus Band, I want you to think about whether or not that Focus Band would have been as impactful at Rayquaza. I know Buddy Barrier has fallen out of favor lately, but it is a game-changing item. When you give your ally a massive Buddy Barrier at some of these big fights, you can win the game because of this. Of course, high HP Pokemon do better with an item like this. I love it on Umbreon. I know Umbreon itself gets a massive shield and steals one from enemies, but you can also give a big one to an ally. It has a huge health pool and no one's really going to take it away now that you've got the Umbreon. Of course, Resonant Guard is amazing. It's a shield for you and an ally all the time, and we just talked about EXP Share. These items are so good, and they will win you games. Number 9 is all about communication. Thanks ping whenever something goes wrong. Moving on. No, of course I'm kidding. Don't do that. That's just, I don't know why you want to do that, some of you, but please don't do that. We'll talk about thanks pings here in a minute. This is all about communication. First, pick your lane, tell your allies where you're going. I know this is like, you feel like it's small. Just letting them know where you're going, seeing what that lane pairing is going to be, is really going to help everyone figure out what they need to be running and how they can support your team. Letting your team know you're going top and you're a Pokemon that has a stacking item on gives them a ton of information. Let them know this. And furthermore, when you're inside of a match, let your allies know what your intention is in moments. You can ping where you're going. You can have things on your chat wheel like heading to top path, heading to bottom path. Let's gather in the central area. Let's hide. I don't love that one, but you can tell people to hide if you want. I think it's important to have things on your chat wheel to let your allies know what your plans are and how they can support you. And then also, if you see that your allies are moving to the bottom path and you just ping heading to the bottom path, oftentimes people will give you that little ping, that little thumbs up saying, hey, I hear you, let's do this. That level of communication can save games. Number 10, and actually I've got a bonus for you coming soon, but number 10 is all about positioning. A lot of you, when I asked what an ally can do that you thought was amazing, a lot of you said body block and position for me. And this is a bigger topic that I think is unfortunately not too cool. I don't know if everyone's gonna click on a YouTube video called How to Position, but maybe I can put something like that out in the future. In general, if you are a tank defender, you want to be in front of your ranged Pokemon. The reason for this not only is because you're going to be soaking up damage, but it's also so that you can give your ally Pokemon vision of the enemy. Your Chandelure can't hit those flamethrowers if no one on your team is able to see where the enemies are. Another thing that you want to look at as a defensive or supporter Pokemon, as you're heading into the final fights in the game, or even some of the bigger fights, are there enemies on the enemy team that are dive heavy? Are there Zoroarks? Are there Leafeons? Are there things that you need to peel away from your attackers and your speedsters so that they can do their job? In general, your defenders are kind of that front line. They give vision, they soak up damage. Your attackers are in the back line, either doing ranged special attack damage or ranged, auto attack damage like a Cinderace. And then you have your all-rounders. They're kind of in the mix a bit, diving in and out. You have speedsters who are heavy dive, looking to assassinate targets. Some all-rounders kind of fit into this category too, like Mimikyu. Then you have your supporters who are kind of positioned almost in between your attackers and your defenders. They want to keep your defenders healthy while at the same time using some of their support for their, squishier Pokemon. For instance, as a Blissey, you can be near your defender, making sure you're healing them with soft boiled. And then if someone tries to dive your Cinderace or your Dragapult, you can Bliss assistance them to keep them alive. In general, positioning is extremely important. If you're a defender and you're running off to back cap, we've already talked about that, but if you're running off to back cap, your team is left without the ability to get vision, left without the ability to soak up damage, they're without a Unite move. You want to be with your team and you want to be trying to position yourself well. Again, range things in the back, you're protecting them, and you don't want to get too far from them. So you kind of keep this almost sphere of influence around your team. And if you do this a lot and group up, it's really hard for enemies, even really good speedsters, to get in and eliminate a lot of your attackers. Positioning is so unbelievably important, and as a general rule of thumb, be with your team. It's almost never the wrong decision. If you don't know what to do, hang with the squad. Our final bonus, what you can do to be the most attractive ally possible, comes from a lot of your comments, and I thought some of these were so fun. A lot of you said if someone genuinely uses thanks pings, not like what we see in games where your Gardevoir walks into the enemy and then starts thanks pinging because for some reason they thought they were going to frontline with their goal getter. That is bad. But if your ally actually does something nice and they thanks ping, people light up. Like if you do something like cool and someone legitimately thanks pings you, it's actually really, really nice. You just have to be careful because lots of thanks pings look like troll moments. So you need to use it when someone actually does something that makes sense. And another thing that people love are their allies spinning with them. Your ally wants to spin, they want to dance for a little bit. Let them know you're in the match. Let them know you're here, you're vibing. Let's do this. These little things can go a long way when it comes to morale, and teams lose morale so quickly in this game. So there you go. That's how to be the most attractive ally possible, and you're gonna see me be the most attractive ally possible on my road to master rank very, very soon. I love you, and I'll see you all next time. We did it.